There's something I've been wanting to do for a long time now, and it's something I've done multiple times on the channel and off the channel, which is try to make my own video game. If you've been on the channel for just a little while, a couple of years, you'll know that I did once do a live stream, which was the only live stream I've ever done at the channel, which was of me creating sprites and different assets for a video game. But besides that one live stream, I didn't actually get further than that particular video. And I have tried making a game like outside of YouTube, which is just like small demos of nothing really, like small, just, to get stuff moving and see, is it actually possible for me to make a video game? So at least I know that I can actually make a video game. I just came from the gym, by the way, so my hair is a little bit wet. I've been wanting to put this up in a ponytail. Can I actually do it? Hold on a second. If there's a person sitting out there thinking to themselves, okay, can I make video games? Does it require something crazy like an education or something like that? I just want to prove that this is something that everyone can do. Like, I'm not talking about building AAA titles, but I'm talking about building, basic video games. I just want to be clear here, okay? I do have a little bit of background knowledge when it comes to Unity based on what I studied back at the university, but we're talking about maybe like 4 classes of introducing how does Unity actually function. There you go, go ahead and try and build an indie game for yourselves. So anyone who just has the courage to sit down and watch some kind of tutorial on YouTube, Brackeys is a good place to start. So if you want to get into video games, he does teach it very well. He is a Danish person, he does actually live very near me, so I could go up there and maybe say hi to him at some point. But really the idea behind this video or video series, we'll have to see how many episodes this is going to be, is can I complete a video game without any knowledge beforehand? Building a video game does require a few different things. First of all, you need to have a game engine that you can build it in. In this case, I'm going to be using Unity, which is a free engine, as long as you're not using it for commercial use that will sell for over, I think, $100,000. So there is information about that you can see on the Unity store website. So if you want to go in there and take a look at what exactly can you do with the free version. One of the things I know it does is that if you get the pro version, it will change the UI a little bit. So you get just a little bit of a darker, cooler looking theme inside the actual software. But when you get the free version, you get this gray kind of, I don't know, old looking software. For some reason, I connect the color gray with being old. I'm pretty sure if I open up Unity right now, it doesn't look any sort of old. Probably does look pretty modern. Another thing you need to know is C#. Can you build using other programming languages in Unity? I heard when I got started with it long time ago that if you wanted to get started with Unity back in the days, you could use JavaScript or you could use C#. I know they removed the JavaScript feature, so you do actually need to get into it using C# instead, which I think is a little bit better. I think JavaScript was sort of trying to get the web developers into making video games using a programming language they knew beforehand. It just seems a little bit weird with JavaScript since, it is an object-oriented programming language, but not really. Not at the same level as something like C#, which is much more powerful if you want to make something like a game engine. Now, where can you learn C# from? There has to be some source on the internet where you can learn that from. Someone who is willing to teach it for free to people who need to know it. And then, of course, if you want to just, not struggle too much when it comes to making video games, it is probably a good idea to know some sort of software like Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, something we can actually draw something inside of, because you will need to make sprites for your video game. And I'm primarily talking about if you want to make 2D video games here, because if you want to get into 3D, then you will need to know something like Blender, something we can create 3D models inside a software that can export directly into a Unity usable format. I think for my video here, I'm just gonna focus on doing 2D modeling because it is just a little bit easier for me, I think. I think some people might find 3D easier, and it's just in general the kind of games that I like to play. When I play something that is an indie game off itch.io or GameJam or something, usually it's 2D games because there's just something about, it's a little bit more artistic. You need to have a unique concept to get it to that one place where people think, wow, this is just amazing. It's just a little bit harder to make a really good 2D game, I think, than a really good 3D game. So just to kind of sum it up here, we need to have a game engine, we need to have a programming language, and we need to have some sort of software where we can make any sort of 2D or 3D modeling for assets for the game. I do have all of them installed right now, so it shouldn't really be a problem. But before we can do anything, the probably the biggest mistake I have done personally, and I've seen other people do when it comes to making a website, a video game, an application, just anything, is that they want to get started so eagerly that they don't finish up the concept of what exactly do they want to build. They just they have like a bare bone concept, and then they jump into the video game and they end up making, you know, the bare bone concept. And once they get to that point, there's a bunch of things that they didn't realize. Oh, okay, so if I need these mechanics in there that I didn't think about in the beginning, then this bare bone concept that I created doesn't really work out. So with that, I have to get started on probably the most difficult aspect of this video game that I'm trying to create here, which is I need to come up with a concept idea, and I need to come up with a very specific plan of execution. So I make sure that I don't end up at some point in about 1 or 2 days from now getting stuck and just abandoning the project because I didn't think things through. I didn't have a finished plan before I started making the thing. Now, I've seen a lot of different game jams on the internet. I have tried to come up with some different concepts, and usually the thing that they do in game jams is that they have some sort of basic concept, like just a phrase or a word that needs to describe what the game developer needs to make. An example could be at the beginning of time. That could be like a concept or a theme for this particular game jam. Another one could be patience or out of control. There's a lot of different concepts that you can just sort of come up with, and it will sort of be like the key starting point to where you want to make your game and how the different mechanics need to function. So I found this random game jam theme generator, and what we can do here is we can actually go ahead and just randomize whatever's in here, place our mouse cursor, and get some sort of theme for this game jam project. I should point out though that some of these themes that I'm looking at does seem a little bit too complicated to make, like Deus Ex Machina. Pretty sure that's already a game, or maybe that's a theme for a game. A game genre? I don't really know. So if I were to pick something like that, I probably wouldn't pick it. So what we do is we close our eyes, click a few times, and then put our mouse cursor down and see what we picked. A drowning man will clutch at a straw. Okay, let's do a new one. Air traffic. Is it okay to repick if the theme is boring? Air traffic. Locked and loaded. I am indecisive. I will click around a few times until I find something that I'm okay with. I'm not saying I need to pick just the right thing. I need to be okay with it. We are united. I think it could work. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna open up a Word document, and I'm just gonna sort of type in what exactly theme we just picked here. So we are united. And that is going to be the theme for this game jam that I'm going to make. Today I'm just going to spend some time coming up with the actual, just sort of the base concept for this idea, just like the bare bones of what exactly this thing is going to be. Just going to throw some ideas on the screen, see what sticks, and then we'll have something to just sort of start from. So yeah, that will be something I think could be quite exciting to do.
I know the story of your life. Storms and summer skies. There was a time when you were young and free. So let's go back to the beaches where I always make you laugh, to the forest where we found a hidden path, to the summertime of 2005 when we were still alive, when we were still alive.
Okay, so I think I got something here to start with when it comes to like creating this video game of mine. I should probably mention that my background has changed because I actually moved office back home a little while ago, and now I moved it back to my office again. So everything here has changed. I actually set up some background stuff and managed to make my drilling machine smoke in the process. So I didn't get to put up all my things yet, but you know, things are slowly getting there. Bit of dog food. But basically I spent a lot of time trying to brainstorm this idea here. I think I might have overthinked it a little bit because I could just have made up something really simple, but I wanted to do something awesome for my first video game. So I tried to come up with a lot of different ideas, and I tried to look up the word "we are united." And from what I could tell, united means that you have a common purpose. to do something that has a very wide sort of explanation behind it. So you could pretty much come up with anything that you wanted, but for some reason I just couldn't stick to one particular thing. So I kept making different ideas, and as you can probably tell, zoom out here, I have tried to come up with quite a few different ideas to what I could do for a game. And it didn't even have to be this complicated. I just come up with something. I even drew an island to be like, oh, what about if you have two islanders, you know, helping each other out? I got a little bit silly there because I started hating myself for not just coming up with an idea. And I ended up with this in the end. The basic idea is that you have two platforms. It's kind of like ping pong, you know, with the ball flying back and forward. But instead of having these little things that you control up and down that needs to, like, you know, reflect the ball, you would actually have two small islands with a player stuck on each of them, and you as the player will control both going sideways. The thing is, when you throw this ball, you have to catch it with the other player, and you have to make sure that enemies that are like coming sideways back and forward, they get hit by the ball. So if you don't kill the enemies fast enough, there's gonna be too many and they're gonna end up killing the player, which you don't want to end up doing. So, you know, you want to throw this ball back and forward, and if you don't catch it, you're gonna die. If you don't kill the enemies, you're gonna die. So you have to like continue doing this, and then there's gonna be like a high score system that is gonna count up, you know, a certain number of points each time you kill an enemy. So yeah, I think this is gonna turn out good. I think it's gonna turn out to be a good game. The next step from here would have to be, well, I thought in the beginning that the next step would have to be creating the visuals, like designing and drawing and creating the sprites and stuff for the game. One thing that I have learned throughout my time is that a plan can change halfway. So if this is my idea right now and I run into an unforeseen obstacle and this is actually turning out to, like, I have to change it a little bit, then it's not a good idea to have made all the sprites beforehand, then find out, oh, okay, so I didn't actually need to use half of these things that I just created. So I think it's better to open up Unity, try and create the game with like really bad, like super bad game models, and just try and get the mechanics working, get the code into the game, and then from there, start thinking about the visual design of the game. I still don't know how I'm actually gonna make this. Is it gonna be like using tiles, or is it just gonna be like me putting in 2D objects and then just making them move? I haven't figured it out yet. I hope this is gonna turn out good. No, you know what? I know this is gonna turn out good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I hope you'll look forward to video number 2. Why did I say it in Spanish? I could have said to, as in like Danish.